So you received your Abeka Homeschool curriculum and you unboxed it and you looked at all the amazing things that are included in this curriculum. You start getting excited for the upcoming homeschooling year, and then all of a sudden you start feeling this overwhelming feeling because there's so much and you just don't know where to begin. Well, today I am going to be bringing you along with me as we look at one of the resources that I feel that are the most important resources in this curriculum for us as parents. And that is going to help us just calm down a little bit. And that is the Abeka Video Manual. We're gonna take a close look at this video manual and see what resources are included in here to help us as parents implement this curriculum and help us have a successful year. So make sure to stick around and watch. For those of you who are new here, I am Yessi, and this is our third year homeschooling with Abeka Academy, and we absolutely love the curriculum. Now for me, when I typically get my curriculum, I unbox it, I look at all the awesome new books that we're going to be using for this year and all the things that are included in it, and soon after that, I pack my curriculum back up and I really focus on looking at the Abeka Video Manual. Now, the reason why I love spending some time looking into the Abeka Video Manual is because it gives me an idea of what the structure for that particular grade level is going to be like. What is it that they're going to be using? What resources are offered in here that I could actually use with my kiddos at home? And it just gives me a general understanding on what each subject is going to be like and what all is going to be covered. Now, based on my experience, I would have to say that the video manuals for K4 all the way up to 6th grade are laid out in the same format. Alrighty, so let's get started. On the cover, you are going to notice that it has the grade level on it as well as everything that comes included in the curriculum. When we open it up, you're going to notice that they do come 3-hole punched, and all of the pages are perforated for easy tear out. You can use this to tear it out and create your own little binder as a resource, which is something that I'm going to be doing this year. You have the table of contents. You are going to notice that it has certain teacher materials that it lets you know at the beginning, and then there's an appendices in the back of the book for each one of the subjects. Then you are going to see all the student and textbook materials per subject. So you're going to see for reading, these are all the materials. For phonics and language, these are all the materials that are provided, and so on and so forth. And then all the teacher materials that are provided when it comes to answer keys and anything like that, you're going to see up here. Down here is more of the supplemental things that you can go ahead and purchase from their website. From my personal experience, I really haven't had the need to buy any of this because I feel like the majority of the stuff is already included in the curriculum. So I don't really go out and buy much more than what I already have. And then on the bottom, you're going to see these abbreviations, and these abbreviations are particularly based on the title of different books that the kids are going to be using throughout the year. Then you are going to see they give you like time schedules, example of what a typical day might actually look like, and approximately how much the video instruction would take and the independent work time. This is just if you do everything exactly how it's laid out. However, you can always switch things around. And then it always provides you with an example schedule that you can use. It goes from 8:15 to 3 o'clock. Really, this is more of a regular school schedule. This is not what it needs to be for you. You can make your schedule whatever it is. Now over here, you're going to see some of the teacher instructions. You are going to see the instructions for homework, reading, and how to use the daily guides. Then it has the descriptions of the subjects and the grading. How are the subjects laid out and how are things actually graded for each one of the subjects. And it gives you also like things that you can say. For example, like little comments that you can write for writing. So if you don't know, let's say your kid did something really good in writing and you just want them to, you know, you want to praise them in some sort of a way, it gives you those phrases here. And then it gives you some example of things on that you can write if there needs to be improvement on them. The daily guides are simply pretty much the layout of the day. The way it works, the first couple of days are always lengthier in explanation than the rest of the year, just because there is a lot of information for you as the parent to know what is going to be expected for that particular class. So over here, you're going to see the subject on this corner, any preparation that needs to happen, and then pretty much the procedure that is going to be for that particular day. Okay, so on the top of this, you're also going to see that it gives you like little notes, like the teacher is going to be using some stuffed animals or die cuts because there's going to be a zoo theme throughout. So that's something just to keep in mind. And it says, you know, in lesson 1 through 35 that are optional for you to have in hand. So you might want to keep in mind that lesson 1 through 35 is going to be zoo theme. So you might want to have some zoo animals or something that you can use just to engage your child a little bit more at home. So from this section all the way up to here, this part right here are the daily guides, okay? Then on the back, we entered the appendices. So we have the first appendix, which is the cursive one, because you do have the choice of doing cursive or doing manuscript. So pretty much everything that's in the cursive is also included in the manuscript, is just the cursive version, okay? So for this particular case is the seat work for cursive, and you see it right here, okay? And then for Appendix C is the seat work for the manuscript. And you see all the examples of the seat work, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, is just as a quick reference for you to look at. I know that in the video, the teacher explains the seat work, but then here is just laid out for you to look at. So I'm thinking here when I make my binder for my husband and I am going to include these in there so my husband and I can reference it whenever my daughter has seat work to work on, and she absolutely loves seat work. I know some kids might not enjoy it. My son is not a big fan, but my daughter just wants to do every single exercise and all the worksheets that she could possibly do. She loves it. Then over here, you are going to see all the charts. Now, I know that these are available for purchase. I personally have never really bought any of the supplemental things because in the video manual, you get the paper white and black version. So what I've done in the past for my daughter for K4 and K5 is I simply rip these out and I laminated. And as long as you don't mind having a back to them that later on you're going to be using, I mean, it's all right here. So for this, I'm simply going to do the same thing. I'm going to rip these out, cut them out, and laminate them for whenever I have to use the phonics charts with my daughter. And the teacher does use them in the lessons. So she does get to see the color version in the video. But for me here at home to use, I have this. There is the manuscript formation guides as well. And all this is also included in the cursive version if you're doing cursive. These I can cut out and laminate and have ready for my daughter to use as a reference when she's doing her seat work. So there's that, okay? Then for Appendix D is the writing for the cursive, and you're going to see also the writing for the manuscript. Now for this, they give you examples. Okay, so they give you the formation guide, which you do get like the formation letter flashcards, the big ones, also included with your entire curriculum, but this is just nice to have as a quick reference. And then here you are going to see sample writing pages of what an A is, what a B is. I mean, my daughter cannot write that amazingly. Like to think that a kindergarten or like a first grader can write that neat is mind-blowing. But just an example of what an A is, what a B is, what does a C look like, okay? So you can kind of have an example of how to grade the writing. And then it also does the same thing for when it comes to the manuscript. So we've been doing manuscript last year and this year, and I have to say my daughter has gotten really good with her manuscript. She's very meticulous with that, but it gives you an example of what an A- is, what an B looks like, and what a C looks like. And these are just examples that you can reference when your child is doing their writing so that you can kind of provide feedback at home. And they do come with this little name tag that you can have as an example, so that, you know, I know that at the beginning it might tell them to have a name tag with their name. It helps for when your child is writing their name at the top of their work to see the correct formation of their particular name. So I am going to be using this year. Do one for her laminated so she can reference to it whenever she's doing her work. For arithmetic, we have here, there is this chart for you to use as a reference. So I know in the older grades, it has multiplication and division. You can simply take these out, laminate them, and use them for a quick review for your children. And then for the spelling and poetry, it just has the exercises that are included in the actual books as well. Particularly in first grade, this is referencing music, art, social studies, and science, okay? So these are the books that they have activities in, and these are the answers to those particular things. Now, when you get into the older grades, is more of, you are going to see the Bible test and the answer key to the Bible test. You are going to see the answers to some of the additional exercises that they have to complete. So it's very different for the grade levels based on what is it that they're doing. Okay, and over here you can see this is the title of the workbook and then the answers on the particular pages that they have stuff for. Now, over here, Appendix I for grade 1 is the home teacher materials. And in this particular case is just giving you pretty much very similar to at the beginning, just an overview of the teacher materials, letting you know what the requirements are, the responsibilities of you as the home teacher. Again, you have so much flexibility if you're doing unaccredited to just switch things around. However, if you are doing the accredited program, you really do want to make sure that you are viewing all the videos and completing the necessary work. Now, when it comes to seat work, that is up to your discretion, but when it comes to assessments, you have to complete it according to their layout. So you're going to want to reference this, especially as an accredited parent. It just lets you know the evaluations, how to handle the grading and the grading scales to use, and how to manage the progress reports and send those in. I personally, even though we are currently not doing accredited, I like to follow the same procedure when it comes to progress reports, because I like to keep the pace and I like to keep my records of progress report myself. Eventually, you know, as our kids get older into high school, we do want them to do the accredited program. So we want them to maintain the same rhythm and the same structure. Over here, you're going to see the subject guidelines for each and every one. It gives you some tips on how to deal with struggling students. It explains like what each subject is going to look like, what the written evaluations are like, where you can find certain answers and those type of things. Now, in the back, typically is the very last section of the video manual is the progress reports. If you are doing accredited, you have to send these in. If you are doing independent study, you can keep these. But you are going to see that there are 2 progress reports for each quarter or each grading period. There's one that you mail in, and then one that is the copy that you keep. And that is if you are accredited. If you are independent study, you keep both. So For the older grades, there are 4 grading periods. For the younger grades, like K5 and first grade, I'm not quite sure about second grade. I have noticed that there are a total of 6 grading periods. So that's something that I take into consideration, especially when I'm creating my kids' binder and the way that I divide up the work to be in the binder. So you're going to notice that it's 6 weeks instead of 9 weeks. Lesson 1 through 30, that's going to be the first grading period. And if you did K5, you are going to notice that this first progress report looks identical to K5. And really that's because with Abeka, they do spend a nice chunk of time at the beginning reviewing the concepts from the prior year, which I absolutely love, especially if you are a family that takes off the summer and then come back. It just eases the kids back into the curriculum. Some people don't like all the repetitiveness. I personally do. I love their spiral learning approach. I feel like it really does help my kids master the concepts that they need and retain it instead of just remembering it for one thing and then moving on and not referencing it at all. Then the second quarter, you're going to see is lesson 31 to 60. And in this particular case, it is Bible, arithmetic, phonics, and writing. However, you see here that now we are introducing oral reading. And there's the grade that if you are doing accredited, you submit, and then the one that you do by yourself at home. I like to do these. For me personally, I like to provide a grade so I know where it is that my daughter is at. And then the one for the 6th grading period. So that's what the first grade one looks like. Just to take a quick look at the 6th grade so you guys can see the differences between the two. You're going to see, you know, at the beginning, it's pretty much the same, except, you know, over here is a little bit more elaborate when it comes to reading and when it comes to language, because they do have library research reports that they have to do or book reports that they have to do and so on and so forth. So the explanation is different. You're going to want to reference this, but you're going to see that when it comes to the daily video guides, it's the same layout. The way that is laid out in the video itself is the same way that is laid out here, the same order. However, you know, like you see here is Bible arithmetic. That's a little bit different than first grade. First grade is Bible, and I believe it was seat work and then phonics, if I'm not mistaken. So the order does change a little bit based on grade level. But then in the back, you're going to see, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Bible, okay? Both of them, I think I forgot to review that on the first grade one, but both of them in the Bible section come up with this leading children to Christ, which is really nice, especially as a Christian parent. In both of them, you're going to see sample wording for helping a child trust Christ for forgiveness. In this one, let me see if I find it here. Where is it? Because I had seen Bible. Here we go. Okay. For this one, it has the same thing here. And then over here, it just has the Bible memory verses, because really in the young grade, that's all they have to worry about. But when they get into the older one, there is an optional journal guide if you would like to use it. And then it has the Bible memory verses, and then it has the tests. So here in the video manual for the older grades is where you find those tests at, and then there's the answer key right here. But it's a very short section, so I really don't put these in the binder until it's time for my son to take these. Now, when it comes to arithmetic in the older grades, right here, see, this is what I'm talking about. These are the charts. I believe you can... I believe that you can buy these already done in color. I personally just rip them out, laminate them, because I don't mind them being in black and white. And my son at this point has gotten so good at multiplication and division that he doesn't need to reference this anymore. For the older grades, you are going to notice that when it comes to speed drills, you are going to have to use several of them to average their grade. So they do have this here for you as the parent to use as something to write your grades down, just to make it easier for you to average those out. Now for reading, for the older grades is a little bit different because it shows you the different structures, the different graphic organizers that you can use that are also included in the reading portion of the kids. They have like a reading consumable they do almost like cold reads in. And then language, see, these are the creative writing exercises, answers for you to reference or report. Grading sheet, it kind of has like the assignment for you, the parent, to look at when each thing should be given for each lesson. So you can see how it's different based on the grade level. And then, you know, they all have the example for the penmanship for the older grades. Here you can see the answer to spelling and vocabulary exercises. This is an actual consumable that the kids have, but the answer key is right here to those particular exercises. And then over here, you're going to see like the trial test that they get. And it has a list of the spelling words. And this helps you as the parent. Like if you're helping your kids study, you can use this to just help you, you know what is it that's coming up on the test, help them out with it, give them the trial test yourself, and then use it for grading as well. And then here you're going to find the homework quizzes. The kids do get a homework quiz. Sometimes that is also part of their grade in the progress report for the older grades. So you can kind of see that here. Everything is provided for you here, like all the answers for everything that the parent needs is included in here. So it really takes that stressor away of maybe I don't remember what this is, or I didn't really read this part that my child was paying, you know, he was doing the lesson. We don't, as a parent, like I honestly don't sit next to my children, neither does my husband, the entirety of their lesson. You know, if they're doing the video lesson, they have a teacher doing it with them, and we might be doing other things. So to us, this is important to be able to make sure that our kids are actually answering things adequately. Here's what the progress report for the older kids will look like. It has first grading period and it finishes with the fourth grading period. All of that is included in the video manual. All right, my friends, I hope that this video helps you kind of get a general idea of everything that is included in it for us as parents to help us have a successful homeschooling experience. I find these books to be so important and just so essential for my husband and I as parents, just to help us lay out the year, help us organize our curriculum. And I do have videos coming up sharing with you guys how I use the video manual to organize our curriculum using the binder method. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys may have based on my personal experience using this particular curriculum. This video was requested by one of my viewers, so if you guys have any video requests, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I will try my very best to put that video together for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the best as you are getting ready for this homeschooling year. I'll see you next time. Bye.